You can wake up one morning being gagged and legally banned from talking about this case or even posting about it.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Flossom Talk. I'm Sashti Flo, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. So let's get into it. First of all, thank you guys so much for all the sweet messages you sent me after yesterday's episode where I was venting a little bit about my frustration. I speak to other content creators as well. They're feeling the same way. We're feeling a little bit drained right now, all of us, I think. It's been a lot, but having your support means so much to me, and I know it means so much to the others as well. Anyways, I have created a new t-shirt. Every time I feel like frustrated, I get creative. And so I made this t-shirt saying, I'm not about 100% organic, free speech. So if you support me and other content creators, that is a way of showing that. It's for sale in my Etsy store. Anyways, let's dive into the craziness that's going on right now. I'm starting to realize what's really happening here, and it's quite scary. So Daily Mail reported on this yesterday when they were talking about how Blake Lively is dropping the investigations into us. They also mentioned that Blake Lively's deposition has been delayed again. Ooh, what a surprise. It was supposed to happen on July 31st, but now she has pushed it again without any reason. And of course, there's no scheduling conflict here. It's just that she is delaying this on purpose because she doesn't really have her narrative nailed down yet. She's trying to figure out how to answer questions from Brian Friedman, and she has absolutely no evidence, as you know, and that's why she keeps delaying it. Obviously, what she's been doing lately with us is a big part of that. And now having to deal with all this mess, all these motions to quash that are being filed every day. Her attorneys are working overdrive. I'm sure she has like 25 people working for her at this point, but they have enough to handle. And I think they're trying now to create some kind of new narrative for Blake. I'll get back to that in a second. Anyways, I have filed a letter to the judge because I wanted it to be public knowledge on public records, basically, that my subpoena has been withdrawn because I don't trust these people. So I did that yesterday. It was nothing fancy, but now I'm in the docket officially as well. This doesn't mean, though, that they won't try to come after me or other content creators again, though. And I know some of my colleagues have filed a letter to the judge asking for sanctions for Blake Lively's team and her lawyers because of this overreach and abuse of the legal system. They also asked for a protective order so Blake Lively can't come after them again. And guess what? Judge Lyman denied it. Surprise, surprise. The reason why I didn't do that is because my attorney told me that you can't ask for sanctions if you actually didn't file a motion to quash, which I didn't end up doing because they withdrew it before I did that. Also, asking for legal fees to be refunded, you need to actually have a motion to quash as well to show for, which I didn't have. So yes, he said there's no point in trying to do that. So what happened now, like I talked about yesterday a little bit, is that the judge now ruled these motions, these subpoenas, these motions to quash the subpoenas as moot, meaning that he's not even going to be bothered to look at them. So every time a new motion to quash hit the docket, Blake Lively's team is withdrawing it. And that's happened now 4 or 5 times. And with me, they withdrew it beforehand because I had an attorney who did actually have a conversation with them. In the letter that they wrote to the judge, they said that they had meet and converse with the other content creators and journalists that they actually withdrew the subpoenas for, but that is not true. None of them actually had a meeting with any of them. So again, they lied. But what I'm starting to realize here is that this was never about getting that YouTube information. It was about getting the real name and addresses of the people criticizing Blake Lively. Because once they have that information by hand, they don't need the subpoenas anymore. That's why they keep withdrawing them. And I'll tell you why a little later. So, yeah, the judge does not think that the content creators, who are not even third parties, although that they are referring to us as third party, we are just non-parties in this case. We have nothing to do with it. And he thinks that this kind of harassment from Blake Lively's lawyers against innocent people who have nothing to do with this is totally fine. So that means that Blake can keep doing this. She's issuing subpoenas, she's unmasking the critics, and then she withdraws the subpoena. So before the judge can even rule on it, it disappears. They probably didn't read any of these motions to quash. So this might be their plan. I saw this post on Instagram from assholemedia.com. It's a great name. They posted this on Instagram and it says, Blake Lively stopping posts about her. Her next move will be to file protective orders against creators she's obtained names and addresses for. I looked into that, and that could very well be the case. So she could go after individuals in their individual states. So suddenly her team is filing an harassment claim in like Kansas or Texas, wherever this content creator lives, and they don't have to even tie that to the main case, the legal feud in New York. And that way it won't even be flagged anywhere to the press and not even noticed by Judge Lyman, although he doesn't really notice anything they're doing because he's sitting like that. And it will not be protected by the First Amendment. So they can claim that this person is targeting and harassing a public figure. They're making her feel unsafe. They can then reframe this legitimate criticism as abuse. And here's the kicker, because they can file that as ex parte. That means that you won't even get notified that they're doing it. This could happen without even your knowledge. And then a judge can grant the protective order against you. So she could basically claim in court that multiple judges says that I'm being harassed. Look at this. And now she's built a paper trail on that she's being harassed, which is obviously a part of this smear campaign. And then she can claim that everyone questioning her are dangerous. Meanwhile, if you want to defend yourself against this gag order, then you have to hire a lawyer and you have to show up in court to do so. You could wake up one morning and you're legally gagged and legally banned from talking about this case or even posting about it, even making a comment about it. I mean, this strategy is just so vicious. I am floored by how dirty this game is, you guys. And yeah, and as I said, I don't feel safe yet, although I'm very happy that I'm here in Spain and far away from where this is happening right now. I think when I read this, I was like, this is, of course, this is what they're trying to do, because now they have everything that they needed from the content creators who fought back. They have their home addresses and they have their phone numbers and they have their legal names. So they can do this to them in their home states. And you have to keep in mind here, Blake Lively's goal here is to shape the narrative to being a victim. That's all she's been trying to do this entire time. And with all these gag orders and protective orders in place, of course, she looks even more like a victim. This is about controlling the ecosystem and intimidating critics. They really want to reinforce this image that Blake Lively is a victim. And now, as I said, this makes so much sense to me. The press hasn't really covered it that much. And I don't know if they were expecting that people would fight back, but they went after some big creators or journalists like Andy Signor and Perez Hilton and Candace Owens. Of course, they were expecting them to fight back. So yeah, if they can just silence all the big voices out there, Blake Lively can continue doing whatever she wants to in court. And as you know, legacy media will not cover it. Blake Lively doesn't really have to win in court. She can just win by fair. Another thing that happened, which is so discouraging, you guys. I'm sorry, this episode is not lighter. I was hoping to have some good news, but this is also very worrisome, I think. So Perez Hilton, as you all know, he's been around for a while and people know him, and he's got a lot of people that doesn't like him. And of course, he's worried for his own safety, just like Blake Lively is. Remember, she couldn't even have her deposition taken at Brian Friedman's offices because she didn't feel safe. but they don't care if Perez Hilton's home address and phone number and all his private information is out there for the public to know. So Perez wrote a letter to the judge asking for a protective order so that his information wouldn't get out there, because he has 3 children, he's caring for his mom, and he doesn't want people to know where he lives.
He says the court has granted several motions to seal personally identifiable information in this case. See dockets number 294, 434, and 485. This judge is either dumb or thinks that we are dumb. Docket number 485, which he referenced, is to redact the personal home address of Cynthia Barnes Slater. Only after disgusting Delulu's lawyers doxed her home address.
Do you think the judge approved? No. The judge said, we already have a protective order. We already are doing these things to protect people's real names and addresses and everything. Well, I missed that because I've seen every content creator's home address and phone number on their filings, even though they asked the judge or they asked Lively's team to retract that. They didn't do it. They didn't care. They doxed so many people. They doxed everyone. And now I'm sure they're going to do it with Perez Hilton as well. Funny enough, the judge is saying that he really trusts Blake Lively's team to follow the rules, which we know that they barely ever do. And then he says, if they don't follow the rules, then we can make a protective order. But if they don't follow the rules, the information is already out there, obviously. So the judge says that this protective order exists already in theory. And as you know, every time Blake Lively's team breaks the rules, nothing happens. So the court just expects people to trust the system now. It's so important right now that people are informed about what's happening here. So the deadlines for the subpoenas to get quashed are on July 31st, which is on Thursday. So let's see how many more people are going to try to get this quashed. So let's see how many more people Blake Lively's team can gather the information from, their email addresses and phone numbers and home addresses. This intimidation and harassment is far from over. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I love you guys so much. You're amazing. There's one thing that this really has shown me that has been this amazing silver lining is that there are so many beautiful souls out there. And I'm just so touched by it all. And I just want to let you all know that I really see you and I read everything. I can't always read the comments because there's a lot. But sometimes I sit down and I read the comments, and there's some wonderful comments as well. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Flawsome Talk. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
Yeah, we flawsome talk.